this team, love this talent, love management, right? They had to know, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they really didn't realize how this was going to affect that, that sort of goodwill, as I said earlier, between fans. And was this move worth it? I think in the long term, they're going to see that it wasn't. And anything short of a Stanley Cup victory, which, again, I don't know that we're primed to do, especially now. Anything short of that, and fans are going to see this as even more of a disappointment because of the coaching change.
And by the way, a quick reminder, they decided to spike ticket prices a few days ago, so good timing for that. Daniel, we always love taking some time out of your day to join us, man. We really love you, and we appreciate it. And you might want to listen, because coming up next, we're going to be talking to Ron Futrell, who claims he was clicked out of City National Arena. That's going to be interesting. But Daniel, always love it when you come on, man. I hope we have you on again really soon, and thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm going to tune in. I'm curious to hear his take on this.
Yeah, he's coming up right next, Daniel. Thank you so much again.
Hey, thanks a lot, Daniel.
You got it, guys.
All right, there you go. It is Kid Poker himself. He's a pretty good poker player from last I heard. He's not bad. I think I can take him. But, yeah, he's pretty good. He's got some jewelry, some bracelets, some WSOB bracelets. I'm telling you, this guy, Daniel Negreanu, is one of the smartest guys I know, and he is so knowledgeable when it comes to hockey. It is ridiculous. It's almost scary. The guy knows everything. I think he could name all the players on the fourth line on the Senators. I mean, it's absolutely insane. But we always appreciate his take, and I think me and Daniel are certainly on the same page when it comes to the firing of Vegas Golden Knights head coach Gerard Gallant. Coming up next, Channel 8's very own Ron Futrell. He's in Ottawa covering this game. He just covered a press conference. We're going to ask him about that and much, much more coming up next with Ron Futrell. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You are listening to the Vegas Take right here on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. Be back right after this.
Do you know that mortgage rates have plummeted to a 3-year low and are nearing historic lows? At the same time, home values have gone up roughly 50% in the last several years. However, they seem to be peaking now. Maybe it's time to put that equity to work by paying off high-rate credit cards, personal loans, or remodel your house. Hi, I'm Wesley Hoagland with Westland Financial. Let us put you in a position to do any of these things with no closing costs. That's right, nothing's rolled into your loan, whether it's conventional, FHA, or VA, will pay your title, settlement, lender, and recording fees. Maybe you just want to lock in a lower rate or refinance out of paying mortgage insurance. All it takes is a 5-minute phone call to see how we can save you thousands of dollars a year. So call Westland at 888-455-3669. It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. Call us at 888-455-3669. 888-455-3669. That's 888-455-3669.
NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Special report Senate impeachment trial. The trial began with a presentation of the articles of impeachment by lead House trial manager Adam Schiff.
Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors.
Chief Justice John Roberts will preside over the trial. He'll swear in the 100 senators to serve as the jury in the trial in about a half an hour. A number of procedural items on the table, including setting the trial rules and submitting trial briefs. Opening presentations will be held Tuesday. President calls the impeachment a hoax, even as there is new information emerging about his actions toward Ukraine that led to the charges that have been presented against him. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads. From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Lowe's. The crash on the 215 Western Beltway northbound, north of Cheyenne. Vehicles off to the right and partially blocking that right lane. Expect delays as you approach, and an accident still active on 95 northbound at Eastern, also blocking the right lane. On the surface streets, an accident reported Jones southbound at the 95. Injury sustained. Police and fire are with the scene. Expect slowing and lane restrictions. Pros do it right by shopping at Lowe's to save on the supplies they need most from the brands they trust to get the job done. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Tina Trenner is back, and she's on 720 AM 1015 FM KDWN every Sunday at 12 p.m. She's sick of the nonsense and has something to say every Sunday at 12 p.m.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
5 minutes of your time can change a teacher's life. The Smith Center and the Rogers Foundation ask you to nominate outstanding teachers for the Heart of Education Awards. Nominations run now through January 17th at theheartofeducation.org. 20 winners will each receive $5,000.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression. My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill, it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Amid Las Vegas's glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
The new 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON. Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. By the way, we apologize. Our YouTube page went down. I know we had a lot of people on there listening to the Daniel Negreanu interview, but unfortunately our internet went down. It is back up, but if you missed that interview with Kid Poker, we will be putting that up on our SoundCloud page, The Vegas Take, in a very short time. So stay tuned for that. Joining us on the line right now, he does a great job for Channel 8. He is a friend of the show and a personal friend of mine. We love this guy. And he is a broadcasting legend in Las Vegas. He is Channel 8's very own, Ron Futrell. Ron, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
Well, thank you for that intro. Sorry I missed the poker interview, but I'm going to catch it on YouTube when I get back.
Daniel is not happy. Ron, Daniel Negreanu, he is not happy, as am I, with this firing last night. So let's start from square one with you, Ron.
Okay.
When you first heard that Gallant was fired, what went through your mind?
A joke? I thought somebody's playing a trick. No, you're not going to fire him at this point of the season. I know they've lost 4 in a row, but come on now. Yeah. Yes, I thought it was a little bit of a joke. Oh, and then the next text I got was, and they've hired Peter DeBoer. I said, okay, now it's really a joke.
Yeah, it's like April Fools. That's what I thought too, Ron. So
you do that in January.
April Fools in mid-January. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. All right, so we agree on that. I want you to take me through what happened yesterday because this is mind-boggling to me. So you're doing your job as you always do very well, and yesterday you're trying to get fan reaction, right? So, and by the way, I want to just announce that Ron Futrell is now reporting live from Ottawa. You are covering the game tonight in Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do another stand-up right now.
Yeah, so I know you only have a few minutes here. So explain to me what happened yesterday. You're at City National Arena with your photog, and you're trying to get audio from fans. What happens next?
And other media was there, too, getting stuff. Denise Rosh from News 3, and there was an internet reporter that was there. Anyway, so we were there getting interviews, and they told us all to leave. And I said, "Are we being kicked out?" And they said, "No, we're just asking you to leave."
So what's the difference?
Okay, okay. All right. So if you're asking me to leave, do I have an option? Can I stay? Now they have a policy that on non-game days you're supposed to call them first to get permission. So that part, I'm going to give you their side of the story too, which is valid in that sense. My argument was, so I've been here hundreds of times on game days and non-game days and non-practice days and done stories, and now all of a sudden this is when you're deciding to enforce it. Sort of odd.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Enforce it on that. You're going hardcore today. I mean, okay, gotcha. All right. And so, yeah, I thought it was a little bit strange to do it on that day. But from their point of view, it was okay. Technically, you've got to ask before you go there. They let us go outside and do some interviews, and I did some stuff out there. And I actually had already done some interviews inside, so I don't know why all of a sudden they decided to. I mean, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not doing any big scandal stories, just talking to fans about what they thought.
Ron, can I interject and just give my opinions, because that's what I'm paid to do here. My opinion is that they know that the fan reaction is not going to be a good one. The majority, I would say 9 out of 10 fans, do not agree with the firing of Gerard Gallant. I think they're just doing everything they can to try to keep that perhaps from getting into the media. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I think it's ridiculous if that is true, but I think that's the only reason I could think of why they would kick you guys out.
Yeah, and again, their argument was that we weren't being kicked out; we were just being asked to leave. And again, their argument was, well, as I stated, and mine was, well, okay, selective enforcement, not against me. It wasn't selective against me. It was all media.
No, I understand.
Selective enforcement. All of a sudden, on that day is the one day that you're going to start playing hardline, because they let media go in there all the time on off days.
Yeah, they just completely mishandled that situation. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Ron Futrell, Channel 8. Ron, I know you only got a few minutes left. You are out there covering the game in Ottawa today. They flew you out there. It is my understanding that management from the Vegas Golden Knights, they have spoken to the media today. Can you tell us who you spoke to and what they had to say?
Yeah, just at this point, Peter DeBoer, the new head coach, had a news conference, and he talked about how he was a little bit shocked, a little surprised that he got the phone call. He was down in Florida with his wife, his family down there hanging out, I don't want to say enjoying he'd been fired a month ago by the Sharks, but he said in the news conference today that he'd enjoyed it for about a week, but then he was sort of antsy, wanted to get back to work, and felt like he should, and felt like he had something more to do. And the call came from Vegas, and he was shocked that Gallant was fired and that he was hired into that position.
So this was verified, Ron, he verified that this was a 24-hour thing, that they didn't reach out to him before that? I find that hard to believe.
Well, okay, they're all friends. So they have talked now, whether they discuss, hey, if we were having an opening there, boy, we'd really like to get you, who knows if that sort of stuff, those sort of conversations had taken place, and likely they had, and there's nothing wrong with that. That happens all the time. But yes, that it was 24 hours from serious start to finish. You're the guy. And I think what the Knights wanted to do was, I think management likes him, number one, DeBoer. There was some
he trashed this team. How is that possible? He trashed this team.
Well, again, it goes deeper with these guys. They're friends, and and that sort of stuff. Okay. That being said, I think there was some tension, and I'll put it just a tension between the management and between Gallant, because certainly the fans loved him, the players loved him. There was no problems there, and he was successful, winning 61% of his games. More than, had a 6.611 winning percentage with the Knights. And that's not counting the playoffs. The playoffs, he was even better. He was 16-10 in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So performance-based is what they said was the issue. But his performance was pretty good.
That's ridiculous. That's like saying Ron Jeremy's performance was, they fired him performance. I'm sorry, that was a horrible joke. I don't know why. I don't even know why I made a Ron Jeremy reference to performance.
Calgary Stampede is football coach, right?
Exactly. All right, Ron. I know you got a stand up to do there, and not stand up comedy. Ron does a great job for Channel 8. So, Ron, this will be my last question for you, and then we got to I know we got to let you go, and we appreciate you coming on. Just give me a preview of the game tonight. I mean, I guess there's two different ways this can go, right? Either the players respond and they kick the crap out of a bad Ottawa Senators team, or they don't. It is my understanding that many of these players are probably not on board with the firing of Gerard Gallant. So how do you think the team responds?
Yeah, but they're not on board with it. But they're going to respond. I think, and you can do both. You've had managers at TV stations and radio stations and places you've worked before where somebody's been let go, and you still go out there, you do the job.
I like
right?
that analogy. Yeah, I like
There's
that.
a little turnover in radio, I've heard. There's a little
Just a little
turnover
bit.
in
Yeah.
The show must
TV,
go
I've heard.
on.
So the show goes on, and you just mock it up, and you put it together, and you make it happen. Another interesting element tonight is Mark Stone here in this arena, and I'm inside the arena right now. It's named after a tire, the Canadian Tire Center. There it is. Got to get the sponsorship right. Anyway, Mark Stone is returning to Ottawa for the first time since he was sent from Ottawa to the Vegas Golden Knights. So that'll be interesting to see the reaction he gets. So Stoney coming back here tonight. There's a little subplot to the Peter DeBoer taking over as head coach.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you know what? Go ahead, Ron.
So I think the players will respond for Stone, number one, for him tonight,
Right.
and for their new coach. And by the way, they're playing their next 7 games on the road, so this ain't going to be easy. He's not going to be back in Vegas for a while.
That could be that could be good or bad. I don't know, but I think the decision making of the Knights to do this when they were on a road trip, I think, was cowardly. Why not wait till All-Star break? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, yeah, a lot of things don't make sense, but I'll say this. If it works for Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee, they will be the rock stars in this thing. If it fails, they're the ones that are hanging themselves out there on this one, and they will have a lot of questions to have to answer if this does not work. So it's a gutsy move. I'll give it that it's gutsy.
Yeah.
Okay, but it had better work, and they had better. And when you say turn this team around, I mean, okay, turn this team around at what? Win 75% of your games?
Yeah, that's not going to
70% of the games.
That's not going to happen.
That's
No,
not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, I think this is a lose-lose situation for DeBoer. I really do. But again, we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
And Gallant's going to be okay. He's going to go likely either to Detroit.
Yeah.
They got problems there. He's got a buddy in Steve Yzerman, so he's in it to win it like Yzerman. So maybe there, and also you like the Kid Rock reference. I hope you appreciate it.
I do.
Ron,
And
I love that reference.
Seattle, you've got Seattle franchise opening up, and Gallant. I don't know if you know this, but he's got a pretty good record with expansion franchises.
Yeah, no doubt.
So,
Very valid
Seattle
point.
want him. You bet they would.
Of course they would.
There's no
So
question.
he'll be fine.
You know what, Ron? I saw a picture of DeBoer and all decked out in Knights gear, and he just doesn't look right. Do you agree with that?
It's going to take some getting used to. Yes. Yes.
He just looks a little off.
Well, we'll have to.
Tonight at Channel 8, we'll be doing some of the stuff on that in his news conference and talk to some of the players, guys.
Yeah, Ron.
Appreciate it.
Ron, I know you got to stand up for Channel 8 to do. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate it.
Guys, appreciate it. Thanks a ton.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ron.
The legend of I call him the legend of Ron Futrell. Yeah, the guy's been doing this for longer than I've been alive in Las Vegas, and he shared the story of going into.
He's kind of a big deal.
He shared the story of going into City National Arena yesterday. And even though the Golden Knights organization say, no, we weren't kicking you out. We were just asking you to leave. What the hell is the difference? It's ridiculous. The hell is the difference? Stupid.
I think when you get kicked out, you get forcibly taken out by maybe a couple of security guards.
What
when you're asked to leave, they just say, "Hey,
what idiot?
You can't be here right now," and then you have to leave. By yourself, as opposed to having someone escort you out of the building. I think that is the difference between actually getting kicked out and being asked.
Well, here's what I'd like to know. What idiot or idiots within the Vegas Golden Knights organization, yes, that's who I think they are. What idiot decided to make the decision when he heard that members of the media were in the arena yesterday and they just wanted to get audio from a fan's perspective? What moron said, hey, you're going to have to ask them to leave? No, really. I want to know what idiot made that decision. I would love to know the name of the person or persons that decided to do that. You are shameful and you are horrible at your job. And I'm so tired of people in this town that work for specific professional organizations that their ego follows them around everywhere and they think their you-know-what doesn't stink. And they just like bossing people around and making people's jobs so difficult. I'm tired of it. When we as members of the media are getting the word out and promoting your product, and you want to give us a hard time, regardless of whether this decision was right or wrong, to throw members of the media out, and make no mistake about it, that is exactly what you did. To throw members of the media out for covering the team, and all they're trying to do is get audio from fans and their perspective on this firing. For you to do that, you are an embarrassment. And you represented the Knights in an embarrassing situation, and you're embarrassing the Knights organization. And listen, DeBoer could go out there and win every game the rest of the season. It wouldn't change my opinion on how the Knights have handled this situation. And now we have McCrimmon contradicting himself. He said yesterday that this was a 24-hour thing, and now he's contradicting himself in another press conference today. It is absurd.
Yeah, there's no way this was a 24-hour thing, because as Negreanu said so eloquently, if it was, then okay, you made a giant rash decision. So if things go south, then I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's basically asking to lose his own job if that's the case.
If you had an issue with his contract and you weren't seeing eye to eye with that, I would say get rid of him at the end of the year, and that's fine. You couldn't wait till the All-Star break to give this guy enough respect?
Well, and then he finds out in Uber.
It's absurd.
That is crazy.
That
is ridiculous.
I don't care what his relationship was with management.
Have a sit down. Have an eye to eye conversation.
And some of these buffoons.
I mean, what if the Knights had won that Stanley Cup, Brian? That would be arguably one of the biggest feats in professional sports history. A desert city, an ice sport comes in with an expansion team, and in the first year wins the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
that would be probably the biggest story, or probably the biggest feat in professional sports history.
And by the way, some of the buffoons.
And he was close to making that happen.
By the way, some of the buffoons in the media in this town. I'm driving to work today. Sadly, I put on the radio and I was listening to another show. I can't take more than 30 seconds. And we had a buffoon on the radio today that was defending the Knights and talking about Gallant and saying, well, he wasn't the greatest motivator. First of all, how the hell do you know that, number one? And number two, the guy took us to the Stanley Cup Finals in year one, okay? He wasn't taking over a storied franchise. It was year one of this organization. Look at what happened last year in the great year. They're a few points out of first place. It's insane. And anybody who could defend this, I don't care if DeBoer makes it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Anybody who defends this decision is an idiot. And you're kissing the ass of the Vegas Golden Knights, just like many of those same members of the media kiss the ass of UNLV Athletics, right or wrong. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. I'm angry at the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm angry at members of that organization, the way they've treated the media, and not just yesterday, by the way. Not just yesterday. I'm talking about in general terms.
What really bothered me was when Veterans in Politics came on our show yesterday and said that the Vegas Golden Knights, they've got these major donations. We're talking about the gala they have every couple of years for their veterans, where all the money goes to to veterans. And they asked the Golden Knights for a donation or some type of charitable philanthropic addition, and they gave them one signed hockey stick. That actually bothered me quite a bit.
The Knights organization, to Bill Foley, to everyone within that organization.
Especially when Bill Foley has the military background he has.
To everybody within that organization, wake the F up. The fans support you. We support you. The media does support you, although we're supposed to be objective in covering the team. Wake the F up. Stop treating the media like crap. Stop kicking them out of City National Arena when we're trying to do our job. And try to be a little bit more transparent when you decide to make a really ridiculous decision and fire Gerard Gallant on a road trip. Be a little bit more transparent, care about your fans, and stop raising frickin' ticket prices. Seriously, I'm tired of it. I'm going to blow a gasket this morning. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the way this organization handles things.
I think your Harry Potter hat's about to fall off.
I'm so pissed off. Gerard Gallant wasn't the best with the media. I'll be the first one to admit that. But the guy wasn't a bad guy, and he was winning hockey games. Put your personal issues aside and do your job and know that it is better for the organization to keep this guy at least till the end of the year than to get rid of him and hire a guy who Gerard Gallant called a clown not that long ago.
Right, exactly. Obviously, there's some type of vendetta there, or some type of.
Well, because DeBoer was going after the Knights.
Yeah, no, I understand.
He was defending some of his baboons on his team, and he was going after the Knights.
And then that call last year, that major that was called against the Knights,
that was absurd.
Was one of the worst calls in NHL playoff
history.
Probably the worst call in NHL playoff history.
The worst call in sports, arguably. It was unbelievable.
It was a horrendous
call. They single-handedly stole the game away from the Knights.
That is why they lost that game 100%.
Of course. It's why they lost the series. It was Game 7.
And you're right. Gerard Gallant definitely called him a clown.
Well,
I'm guessing McPhee and McCrimmon and Bill Foley knew that, and they said, Well,
let's hire the clown.
Your replacement is this guy that obviously you don't have a great relationship with. So clearly they wanted to add insult to injury to some degree, and I think it's very hard to deny that at this point.
And you know what? Danny Negreanu makes a really good point. If this was a so-called 24-hour decision, which by the way I don't buy for a second, but if it was hypothetically, that makes you look even worse because that means it was an impulsive decision, right? Yeah. It's ignorant.
This is a professional hockey team.
It's kind of like if you're not getting along with your
successful professional hockey team with probably the most fan support in the NHL right now.
Let me give an analogy of what this decision is. If they're saying it was 24 hours, which again I don't buy. Let's just say you're married to your wife for 3 years. You're in your 3rd year of marriage and you have your first big fight. You know, you have an argument, you have a fight. Maybe you're in a bad mood. I don't know. And then all of a sudden you look at your wife that same day and say, "That's it. I want a divorce." And for no other reason other than the fact that you got into one bad fight. And then if your wife looks at you and your wife says, "How long have you been thinking about this decision? Have you been thinking about this for a while?" And then you look at your wife and
20 minutes.
And you say to your wife, "This was a 24-hour decision." That's what a buffoon McCrimmon sounds like.
Not only that, not threatening divorce, but actually calling an attorney, drawing up the paperwork, and getting a divorce, which is what happened here. This wasn't just a threat, Brian.
And by the way, in your first year,
this actually followed through.
In your first year of marriage, your wife supported you when you had some medical problems. She was a great wife. She could have won the Wife of the Year. She took you to the Wife Stanley Cup. Yeah.
You were in a bad accident, and things
she took care of
and things
She was a
happened to
great
you.
wife.
I mean, for example, let's talk about October 1.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can argue that the Golden Knights basically helped Vegas heal from October 1 and the success they had that year with that hockey team.
Well, I don't even want to go there. I'm beginning to question some of that stuff. But anyway, the analogy, you understand the analogy
Absolutely,
I'm trying to make is that
it was actually, usually you have horrible analogies. That was a good one.
Like, imagine that.
Probably a top 3 Brian Shapiro analogy.
No, imagine you have a wife that's faithful. She's done a good job. She's not perfect. But the last few weeks, things have been a little rocky. There have been some arguments. There's been a little bit of tension. But she's not cheating on you. It's nothing monumental. You can turn things around in your marriage. Hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
You can turn things around in your marriage. It's been a little rocky for a few weeks. But you've been married for 3 years. You've known her for a while. She's got a great track record in her life. She's got a nice family. And then all of a sudden, you get into one argument. And you decide to divorce her.
Not only do you divorce her, then you marry her sworn enemy within.
That's a good point. I forgot to add that one.
Within, we'll call it 2 days.
Yeah. You're marrying one of her enemies, a friend of her, a person she works with that's trying to get her fired.
A public enemy.
That's the perfect analogy to what's taking place here. And then the husband says, "Listen, this is a 24-hour decision. I wasn't thinking about it before this. It's a 24-hour decision. The contract is over. We are divorced."
And the husband runs a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund.
Yeah. And by the way, when her family members want to talk to you, when her family members knock on your door and they just want to talk to you and figure out what's going on, you kick them out.
Right.
That's what the Knights did yesterday at City National Arena. They kicked out the family.
Yeah, no
you got to go.
What you would do is you would block all of her family members on Facebook and all forms of social media, and you would delete their phone number.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way,
until you felt comfortable, we'll give it a week or two. Until you felt comfortable, we'll say in a month, which is when they're back in Vegas. And then in 1 month, then you unblock all their numbers.
And by the way,
and you add them back on Facebook.
We forgot about this. And then she makes more money than him, let's say. And now you ask for half of her money, because that's kind of what the Knights are doing, because they're charging the fans more money. So when all this is going on, you also take her money.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the Vegas Golden Knights are doing. This is a divorce that should have never happened, but it did. And I believe it happened over personal reasons.
It sounds like there was a affair brewing for quite some time in this marriage.
I'm telling you right now, everyone's saying, well, the Knights, they're going to respond tonight. I am staying the hell away from this game. I have no idea who is going to win this hockey game. The one good thing going for the Knights is that the Ottawa Senators are not a very good hockey club.
Not.
But I have no idea how the Knights are going to react to this. It drives me nuts when I see people on social media like Evander Kane mocking the Vegas Golden Knights. It drives me nuts when I see the general manager of our hockey team contradicting himself as he did today. First, he said this was a 24-hour decision, and now he's saying it wasn't. Well, make up your mind. Make up your mind. You're the general manager. It is your job to speak the truth to the media so that the fans can get the best information that they can get. Make up your damn mind. And I'm going to tell you something. This better work out. Because if this doesn't work out, and if DeBoer is not accepted by the fans, and if he's not winning hockey games, and then all of a sudden you notice in a month or two from now, season tickets, or I should say just day by, game tickets are down and they're losing, this is going to be an absolute disaster if they don't make the playoffs. Now, I think they are going to make the playoffs.
Especially with Fleury aging. You don't know how long Fleury's going to stick around with the Golden Knights. This could be his last year. Well, I mean, he wasn't very happy from what I've seen with the Gallant firing. I mean, his body language indicated to me that he was not happy with this, and you could argue that Fleury was a major part of the success in that first year.
I hope I'm wrong on this, but here's what I think is going to happen. I think Gerard Gallant is going to get the job with the Detroit Red Wings. Right. I think within a couple of years, Gerard Gallant is going to get that team to the playoffs, and I believe when that does happen, I think DeBoer will still be here, and I think this will be an average hockey team struggling to make the playoffs. I hope I'm wrong on that, but if I'm right, we're going to look back on this day, and we're going to say to ourselves, boy, did they F up.
And if this happens, then you're going to look at a coaching carousel. It'll be just a nasty cycle of firing and rehiring coaches, and when that happens, fan bases, they tend to dissipate.
By the way, DeBoer did answer some questions. He said, I'm excited. This is my kind of team. These are my kind of guys. I would kind of tend to disagree with that to a certain extent. He said this is a team that the goal is to win a Stanley Cup. A little bit of adversity is always a good thing. It's how you deal with it. And so those are some of the comments that he made earlier today. Certainly my eyes will be glued to this hockey game tonight. I look forward to watching it and see what happens. But I think we all can say, except for maybe within the Vegas Golden Knights organization, I think we all can say that we are all shocked and surprised at the Vegas Golden Knights' decision to fire coach Gerard Gallant. We do appreciate Danny Negreanu taking some time to join us. Also, Ron Futrell from Channel 8, who actually is in Ottawa tonight. They flew him out there to cover the game. We're all surprised.
Did he talk about the weather up there, Brian?
No, that was the last thing I wanted to talk to him about. We had a few more important questions to ask on the weather. Yeah.
Ottawa.
Why would you ask him about the weather?
Cold, snow.
So why do you need to ask him?
Because I'm having PTSD from living in Omaha right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's your problem, not mine.
I totally agree. That's why I was going to ask him that.
Well, that's your problem that you decided to live there for most of your life. That makes
totally agree.
That makes you an idiot for living there.
I wish I was born on the West Coast.
Yeah. Well, what the hell's wrong with you? I moved here 20 years ago because I hated the weather in Connecticut. I'm smarter than you. Can you at least admit that?
In this particular situation, I would agree with that.
Okay.
98% of other situations, I would not agree with that.
But
I'll give you some credit on this.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I decided to get the hell out of Dodge. All right. So we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, this is always fun. It is our Dirty Dining segment, our weekly segment with the ABC 13's Darcy Spears. Darcy does a great job. If you don't know what Dirty Dining is, well, it's the restaurants that you don't want to go to that they've broken some health code violations. Darcy does it every week, and she's going to give us a few restaurants that you might want to stay away from. That's coming up next with Darcy. You're listening to The Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
If you own a business and want to bring attention to it, there's no better way than wrapping your vehicles. While you or your employees are driving around Vegas, let your vehicles scream about your products or services. Share with everyone on the road why you're so special, with a single vehicle wrap getting anywhere from 30,000 to 80,000 views per day, according to the Outdoor Advertising Association of America. Turn your vehicles into an amazing, spectacular moving billboard. Let Intershine Graphics show you how with the best wrap in the business. Go to IntershineGraphics.com. IntershineGraphics.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Special report, Senate impeachment trial. The Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, is about to swear in the 100 U.S. senators as impartial jurors in the impeachment trial of President Trump, just as House Speaker Pelosi accuses the GOP of trying to block witnesses and evidence at the trial.
They don't want to see documents. They don't want to hear from eyewitnesses. They want to ignore anything new that comes up.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says senators should consider only the evidence amassed by the House. The lead House trial manager, Adam Schiff, read the charges against the president before the Senate.
President Trump has abused the power of the presidency in a manner offensive to and subversive of the Constitution.
Moments ago, a protest broke out in the rotunda of the Senate, with protesters chanting Trump is guilty. Opening arguments are set to begin Tuesday after the holiday. I'm Mike Moss. The Senate's ratified the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. We get more from correspondent Linda Kenyon on Capitol Hill.
The yeas are 89, the nays are 10. The bill is passed. The USMCA, or the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, is one of President Trump's top priorities. Since the House already passed the bill, it now heads to the president's desk for his signature. Mexico has signed on to the deal. Only Canada remains outstanding, and Canada also is expected to agree to the trade deal.
The Pentagon says it soon will announce a resumption in operational training of Saudi military officers in the U.S., suspended after a Saudi officer's fatal shooting of 3 Americans at a Florida naval base. The FBI has arrested 3 suspected members of a neo-Nazi group who had a machine gun in hopes of sparking a U.S. race war at a planned gun rights rally this weekend in Virginia. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 170.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. A crash on the Western Beltway northbound, north of Cheyenne, still a factor. Watch for delays. And an accident in the lower valley on Blue Diamond at Rainbow. Injury sustained. Emergency crews are on scene. Also a crash on Sahara at Grand Canyon. Taking a look at I-15, the resort corridor. Moderate volume, but no serious delays. After an accident, the insurance companies won't have your back. That's why you need personal injury attorneys Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right. Visit them now at samandash.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
This holiday season, get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off during their holiday sale.
This is Harry Jacobs from Credit Restoration of Nevada, inviting you to join me for the Credit Show, Saturday mornings between 9 and 10, here on the new 101.5 FM and 720 AM, KDON.
Warning. This product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hi, it's David Masters. Join me and my brother Alan for Advice Line, 10 to midnight, Monday through Friday, right here on 720 KDON and on 101.5 FM. That's Advice Line, America's live radio counseling program. If you've got problems, we've got your answers. Monday through Friday, 10 to midnight.
You know, Tempur-Pedic mattresses are the best on the planet. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress, your Tempur-Pedic elite retailer. To be a Tempur-Pedic elite retailer, you have to have the best selection, the highest customer satisfaction, and the most rigorous employee training. And buddy, we got them all. Experience what Elite is all about and get 72 months no interest financing, free delivery, and a $300 gift with the purchase of any Tempur-Pedic mattress. Best Mattress. Sleep easy, friends. See store for details.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Do you owe thousands to the IRS and don't know your options? Did you know you can actually file bankruptcy on IRS debt? Hi, I'm attorney Taylor Randolph, and I have a master's degree in legal taxation, and I can help. Call 702-757-7777 today, and I will meet with you personally for a free consultation. We have removed millions of IRS debt, and we can help you too. No gimmicks, just real help. Call 702-757-7777 today.
Family Promise of Las Vegas, please leave a message.
I've been laid off my job, so we're facing eviction. I have 2 daughters.
I'm calling for emergency shelter for me and my 2.5-year-old son.
I'm a single father with a 14-year-old daughter looking for emergency shelter.
Join with Family Promise of Las Vegas, where our mission is to bring homeless families with children home again, one family at a time. Visit fplv.org and become a friend of our family today.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. I was going to say it was the Vegas Take. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us on a Thursday. By the way, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports will be joining us. Following the breaking news, Chief Justice John Roberts has been sworn in to oversee the impeachment trial. So certainly history in the making. We'll get to all that coming up here in a little bit. But I said, next time we invite this guest on, we want to play the theme to the movie Jaws, because if you own a restaurant and you see Darcy Spears walk in with a photographer, it's not good for you. You're not getting good free publicity. It's probably not for the good reasons. Darcy does a fantastic job for ABC 13 with her Dirty Dining segments. Where should you be a little bit concerned to be going to have a meal this afternoon? Well, Darcy's here to tell us about that. Darcy, thank you so much for being here. As always, how are you?
There, I took care of the theme music for you.
That was perfect.
I'm just thinking, like, if I own a restaurant, what is my biggest fear besides being robbed? It would be Darcy Spears walking into my restaurant.
I mean, Darcy, are you starting to feel like the female version of Chris Matthews in the Vegas dining sector?
No, but Darcy.
Good heavens for that comparison.
Well, Darcy, you are doing the good work, and we appreciate what you do. So let's start. Let's get right at it. So my understanding, in this past week, there was a restaurant that you went to on Eastern and Tropicana where the bathrooms were out of order. Where are these people going to the bathroom?
Well, according to the complaint that was initially filed with the health district, the employees were, and I don't know about the customers. I know that the employees themselves had to leave the restaurant and go across the parking lot to a Starbucks to use the restroom there.
That's ridiculous.
And as you can imagine, there are issues with hand washing. You have to wash your hands right after you leave the bathroom and before you come back into the kitchen. And that's kind of all part of an oversight mechanism to make sure that, because hands transmit the most bacteria,
right,
the worst thing in any kitchen is unclean hands. So, that's issue number one.
I was going to say, I mean, they should just put a sign up in the restaurant that says our employees are required to wear diapers. I mean, that's the least. That's the least they could do. Okay, so tell me what this place is called and where it's located, and how they rectified the situation, so to speak.
So the restaurant is called Las Pupusas, and it is on. I know. I had to try not to laugh.
That's just way too funny.
It was. As I was voicing the story yesterday, I literally almost burst out laughing while I was tracking a line that had to do not only with the name of the restaurant, but of course followed by the fact that right outside the restaurant at the next door liquidator, there was a lineup of toilets on the sidewalk for sale. And the whole thing, it was an irony that my photographer noticed and pointed out to me right away. And he's like, I'm going to get some video.
Oh my God. That is unbelievably funny.
That's so ironic.
Unbelievably funny and disgusting at the same time. Wow, that's unbelievable. Okay, so you found a Thai original barbecue place. I believe that's what it's called. It's on Jones and Flamingo, not too far from here. And apparently the whole place was a grease trap. Explain to us into detail what that means.
Yeah, the issue at Thai Original Barbecue, and they're still shut down because of it, is apparently they were doing some construction work to deal with their grease trap and grease disposal outside, but whether there was a delay in it or who the heck knows what was going on, they had a 2-foot deep by 2-foot wide trench running through their kitchen, covered only by plywood, which, by the way, was grease stained and gross, with like a river of grease running through it, that it was overflowing. And the danger here, beyond the restaurant, of course, is that the grease was overflowing into the sanitary sewer. And you can't have that. So they were immediately shut down and have yet to reopen.
Ugh, that doesn't sound like a place I'll be going to today for lunch. Talk to me, we talk a lot about food trucks, and it seems like there are a lot of food truck repeat offenders. I remember you came on the show about a month or two ago, and you told me one of these food trucks, they were actually making food in a kitchen in a home. Just bizarre. And now you have another food truck repeat offender, right? They're called Kenya's Catering. They were shut down. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, Kenya's is actually a three-peat offender on Dirty Dining. Not necessarily the same truck every time because they have a small fleet. However, obviously the ownership continues to have issues with the health code because they've been on 3 different times now. Typically, you'll see these food trucks out at construction sites. That tends to be where they station themselves. And of course, those guys deserve to have a healthy, clean, sanitary meal. They're out there working really hard, and they often don't have time to leave the site or go very far for lunch. They look to that as a convenience, and the trucks are potentially doing them a disservice. So for this one this time, they had no hot water at all on the truck. They had ham, cheese, and chorizo, which are probably three of the main ingredients of what they're serving, that all had to be thrown out due to unsafe temperatures. There was no sanitizer whatsoever on the truck, so it's not like you can just fix that if you're out in the middle of the desert on a construction site.
No, absolutely not. Wow, that is completely disgusting. All right, I want to get to one more here. Don Chui Mexican Grill. Am I pronouncing it Chui? Chewy.
That's how I say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don Chewy Mexican Grill. They got into a little bit of trouble.
Just keep doing that, Brad.
What'd you find out?
You're going to record that and put it on a loop at some point in time.
I really, really hope not.
So inadequate refrigeration was the issue there. And while it doesn't sound like the sexiest violation in the world, of course, food temperatures are probably amongst the most critical issues in any kitchen. Because once the food is in the temperature danger zone, bacteria starts to grow, and it's like an instant thing. And the longer it's in the danger zone, the quicker the bacteria grows. That's why there are specific regulations, one of which goes back to Las Pupusas, which I'll get back to in a second, about how you handle food that's left out at room temperature, for example. So Don Chewy was shut down for inadequate refrigeration. Most everything in the restaurant was in the temperature danger zone. So they obviously had some malfunctioning equipment, and instead of shutting themselves down and notifying the health district because they had an imminent health hazard, they just kept right on going, and then the health district had to come in and shut them down.
What if it's a situation where the equipment itself is faulty? How do you handle the demerit system with a restaurant like that?
Well, if your equipment is faulty, if your fridge breaks or whatever, it's not holding the proper temperature, you are in the midst of an imminent health hazard if you're experiencing lack of adequate refrigeration. So the rules there are you self-close, you immediately notify the health district of what's going on, and then you follow the health district's instructions as directed.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Darcy, you always do such a wonderful job, even though some of this stuff is just disgusting. But it's an important service to know that some of these restaurants out there are not performing up to the standards that we all deserve. Can you give people a little bit of information on when this stuff airs and what time it will air and where people can find you on social media?
So we debut our Dirty Dining episodes every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. I know that's a little late for some folks, so if you don't DVR it or catch it while it airs, you can catch it again Thursday. So today, coming up in our 6:30 p.m. half hour, you'll get to watch Dirty Dining again. And then, of course, it's always available online at ktnv.com, on my Facebook page, Darcy Spears. It's posted right now. I also just tweeted out a link to it a little while ago. So you can find us in very many platforms at a time of your convenience, or make some appointment viewing and sit down and watch it on TV.
Darcy, great job as always. You do a phenomenal job over there at ABC, and we appreciate your time. We look forward to catching up with you again next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Darcy.
That's Darcy Spears, ABC 13 Dirty Dining. By the way, if you missed our interview with Danny Negreanu, we had a little internet connection issue here. You'll be able to check out that interview in regards to Gerard Gallant, Vegas Golden Knights superfan Danny Negreanu. We will be putting that up on our SoundCloud page in about an hour or so. So look for that if you actually missed it. All right, coming up next, one of the reasons why I might be personally responsible for a San Jose State basketball player being kicked out of a game at the Thomas & Mack Center yesterday. I'll explain exactly what happened coming up next. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shar-Pei rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal. DINOVITE.com. People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Hey, have you heard that ransomware attacks have increased by 500% this year?
Yeah, cybercriminals are targeting all types of businesses, encrypting their data and holding it hostage unless they pay up.
What if we're their next victim?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda to detect, prevent, and recover from ransomware and other advanced threats.
So we're secured?
Absolutely. We'll pay no ransom and keep this business up and running.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
When a counselor asked how much my husband drinks, I said, not that much. I don't know why I said that. He always drank too much. But I guess I'm so used to keeping it a secret that I didn't tell the truth to myself or anyone else. My husband has drinks with friends after work. He has a couple of drinks at home with dinner and a few more while we watch TV. Pretty soon he's shouting at me and blaming me for all of his problems. I just can't take it anymore. A counselor recommended Al-Anon family groups. She said Al-Anon members have had experiences just like mine, and they would explain how Al-Anon is helping them. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Family Promise of Las Vegas, please leave a message.
I've been laid off my job, so we're facing eviction. I have 2 daughters.
I'm calling for emergency shelter for me and my 2.5-year-old son.
I'm a single father with a 14-year-old daughter looking for emergency shelter.
Join with Family Promise of Las Vegas, where our mission is to bring homeless families with children home again, one family at a time. Visit fplv.org and become a friend of our family today.
Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we'll be joined by Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. Some breaking news on Odell Beckham Jr., so you might want to stay tuned for that. So yesterday, UNLV basketball at home at the Thomas and Mack Center against the San Jose Spartans. San Jose is an awful basketball team. They probably shouldn't even be Division I. That's how bad they are. They are one of the worst defensive teams I have ever seen. Anyway, so UNLV is in control of this game, right? So there's a player at the end of the bench. I believe he is a freshman redshirt. His name is, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, I really don't care. Is Samuel Japhet Matthias. He's a 6'11", 280-pounder, I believe from England. This is a big dude. And I'm watching him on the sidelines, and he's not playing. Like I said, he's redshirting. He's a big guy. He's standing at the end of the bench. Now, at the end of the bench, there is a small contingent, but a contingent of I'm not even going to use the term rowdy. They're just like maybe 10 or 15 fans that knock, the players, and they do what fans should do, right? They don't like the away team, and they weren't swearing. They weren't saying anything threatening. They were just kind of hazing this kid. This kid gets, and by the way, he wasn't sitting down the whole game. For whatever reason, he's standing up. I don't even understand that. He gets into the crowd. He pulls a Ron Artest, Malice at the Palace. He gets into the fans' faces. We're talking 20 or 30 feet off the court. And he gets in the fans' faces, and I'm shocked. And the reason why we don't have video of this is because it happened so spontaneously, right? So I'm shocked. And I'm looking at everyone like, did you guys just see what just happened? That guy just went in the stands. This San Jose State player just went in the stands. So security gets involved. Things seem to calm down, but this kid is not calm. You could see there's something mentally not right with him. So this is about a few minutes later. I make a joke to my friend Chris Wynn. I went to the game with him, and I know he joins us on the line right now. We can get him involved in this conversation. So I look at my friend Chris, and I go, we got a Ron Artest on our hands. Put Ron Artest in the game. And I didn't even say it that loud, but I said it loud enough, I guess, for him to hear. The guy turns around, this kid. He turns around. He's a big dude. And he goes, F your mother. Let's see. What else did he say? He said, F your mother, F your kids.
No, so he said, I'm going to F your mother.
He said, I'm going to F your mother. I'm going to F your kids. He called me a pedophile. I guess he might have seen me in To Catch a Predator. I don't know. And then next thing you know, he's sort of thrown out of the game. So the guy joining us on the line was sitting right next to me to verify all this. He would be Chris Wynn, who actually videoed him getting kicked out. He's got like 8,000 views of this video.
He's got 11,000
Is it 11,000?
Chris Wynn's video is almost going viral.
So, Chris, give me your description. Did that describe that pretty accurately of what took place last night?
That was pretty solid work right there, Brian. JD, good to talk to you guys. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It was a rather strange type of deal because, as Brian pointed out, he was standing on the end of the bench. And look, we've seen visiting teams all the time come into the Thomas and Mack, and normally you don't have a player standing down at the end of the bench, in that way. Excuse me. And
that was great, Chris.
You okay?
Yeah. So anyway, he's at the end of the bench, and I didn't actually see. Excuse me.
Jesus, what is wrong with you? Take care of yourself.
What is going on, man?
Yeah,
you sound like you're coughing up a lung.
Caveman Kino is getting you sick.
Good grief. Take care of yourself. All right, go ahead.
We want the best for you, Chris.
Did you die? Are you there? Okay.
All right, great. All right, great. We're very glad to hear that.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, yeah, he's at the end of the bench, and I didn't see him actually go up in the stands. Actually, let me call you guys back because I gotta get rid of this little thing I got with my throat.
He just coughed up. Is he smoking? Is he high?
Oh,
what the hell just happened?
He just had a bronchial episode.
Now he's gonna make me cough.
Chris, I really hope you do not have pneumonia.
He's making me cough now. Anyway, so as Chris just completely ruined this segment, what I was trying to say was this player turns around and he says, I'm going to F your wife. I'm going to F your kids for no reason, for absolutely no reason. All I said was put Ron Artest in the game. I made a joke. I'm a member of the media. I'm not going to openly sit behind the bench and haze players. I've never done that as a member of the media. But I made a joke, and people were laughing, and then he turns around and he heard me, and he starts threatening me. So a couple moments later, the refs get involved, and, of course, it doesn't end with the hazing of some of the other fans. This kid has a screw loose, a few. He's a sandwich short of a picnic. There's something wrong with this kid. So the refs say, you got to go. And I don't know if he was officially kicked out of the game, but the coach of San Jose State, who I think is a complete buffoon, is allowing all this to happen. And eventually the coaches say, okay, come on, let's get you out of here. This is a dangerous situation. So as this kid, and we have the video of it on our Twitter page, as this kid who just completely lost his mind is escorted out late in the first half, he punches like it's kind of like how do I even describe this? He punches like a sign at the Thomas and Mack Center underneath the tunnel there, and you can visibly see where he damaged it. And as he's walking in,
it's like a plastic banner that says Cox on it. And the bottom of it, he takes both his fists as he's walking out, as he's getting escorted out. This guy's 6'11", 280 pounds. He takes both his fists and simultaneously smashes them against this.
Well, he took one of his fists.
Both of his. Both of
okay.
them, yeah. And like he was dunking almost.
Okay, well, a sign that says Cox, that sounds like something that we'll see at the AVN Expo coming up in a few weeks.
Right,
anyway,
exactly.
I'm sorry. Horrible joke.
With different spelling.
Horrible joke. But anyway, after that.
He actually damaged it.
I understand. Yeah, so I'm looking at the picture of it right now. So after that damage, he's in the tunnel, and he uses his head and headbutts the wall as he's leaving. And I'm thinking to myself, this kid has to be on something. He can't have this type of anger management and be on a college basketball team.
No.
There is obviously something mentally wrong with this kid. How the hell is he even on the team?
And it's scary. I would prefer that type of, mental issue would exist in someone that's maybe 5'9", 180 pounds, as opposed to, 6'11", 280 pounds. Now, it's possible that he is trying to showcase himself. We're in Las Vegas, and Conor McGregor has a big MMA fight this weekend. Maybe he wants to start an MMA career because I think at that size, with the amount of insanity going through that guy's brain, he might have a shot.
So I'm not going to comment on that, although we are going to talk a little MMA and the McGregor fight tomorrow. But in regards to this situation, I looked at Chris, who might be dead right now, by the way. We just had him on. I don't know. He just coughed up a lung. But anyway.
He just sent us a message that says, I have a frog in my throat.
Okay. Well, okay. Fair enough. Maybe you shouldn't eat frogs. But anyway, I look at Chris, and his video is on our Twitter page, by the way. I look at Chris at this time where I see blood in this guy's eyes and like he's going to kill somebody. I look at Chris and I say, Chris, I'm not going to egg this guy on because he might kill me. And here's the problem with that. If he knocks me out, he probably doesn't have any money and I can't sue him. I'm thinking to myself, if this guy's an NBA player making $10 million a year, I might shout out the Ron Artest comment. And what's the worst that can happen? He jumps into the stands and knocks me out. and I get a concussion, and I probably get about $10 million for it. So, I'm thinking in that way, right? It's a business decision.
I understand that.
So I made a business
but you got to
decision.
keep in mind that San Jose State, if this was like Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, but San Jose State they're not exactly the most well-off.
No, they're not.
Athletic program.
Their players, apparently the players they recruit don't travel very much. I think the entire team is from California except for this kid who's from England. So anyway, I do look at Chris and I tell him and I say, I am not going to egg this guy on. I am not going to make – and by the way, I don't think I said anything wrong. I made a joke because I'm calling him Ron Artest because, of course, Ron Artest, the malice at the palace. And what this kid did looked very similar to that. He just went right into the stands recklessly. But, I look at Chris. I say, I'm not going to say one more word. And there's security guards that are getting involved. This kid is mouthing off to the security guards. He is saying the worst possible disgusting things you could say to fans, to security, to the coaches. The referees are trying to calm him down. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. This kid just lost his mind. He had a psychiatric episode, while he wasn't even playing either. That's the weird thing about it. And as I said, this is a huge kid. He is enormous. He is enormous. He's 6'11", 280 pounds. He's a freshman. He is huge. So, as I say, they walk him out. He does not return. I was actually rooting for him to come back onto the court in the second half. Even though he's a redshirt freshman and he's not playing, I wanted to see this S show, for myself.
Wanted to see it, just a technical foul.
No, they didn't. No, that's not what I was thinking.
Mbaki Jong gets completely knocked out and he can't play for the rest of the season.
Well, no, because like I said, this kid was redshirting. He wasn't playing in the game. He's standing on the sidelines. He's not playing. But I wanted to see him come out there again because I wanted to see the S show continue and see this kid do something really dumb. Because I think he deserves to be suspended. I think that his behavior and his actions, he should be suspended the rest of the year. If a college basketball player goes onto the floor and walks 20 feet and gets in a fan's face, you should be suspended the rest of the year. Even if the fan says the utterly worst things imaginable, it is your duty as a college athlete or as a professional, either or, to represent the team and the university and to be responsible.
What if you had called him a racial slur? Would he have had every right to punch you in the face?
Well, first of all, let me be clear on this. I would never do that.
Obviously. But hypothetically, what if, well, not you, but what if one of those hazers and one of those fans
quickly, because we only have a minute,
called him a racial slur?
Okay, first of all, the fan should be immediately ejected and should never be back allowed into the Thomas and Mack Center. With that being said, that does not justify committing assault. That does not justify assault. Now, would I feel a little bit more appropriate in defending him? Perhaps. But just because somebody calls you a racial slur, which I don't agree with, obviously, does not give anybody the right to commit assault. Now, if he went into the stands and that's all he did, I would defend him. And I would probably say he doesn't deserve a suspension. This fan called him the N-word or something. But that's not what happened here. That's not what happened. The fans were just calling out his name and calling him regular names that you'd call anyone else. It had nothing to do with race, and it was just regular hazing going on. I made a Ron Artest comment, and the kid just lost his mind. And he said he wanted to F my wife and kids. Oh, and by the way, after he said that, I said, you're wrong. I don't have a wife and I don't have any kids for you to F. Anyway, all right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be joined by Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. There is some breaking news in the NFL, and it involves a very high-profile NFL player. We'll get to that coming up next. This is the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Trial. Senators, I attend the Senate in conformity with your notice for the purpose of joining with you for the trial of the President of the United States.
Chief Justice John Roberts sworn in by Senator Charles Grassley to preside over the impeachment trial.
Will you place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that in all things appertaining to the trial of the impeachment of Donald John Trump, President of the United States, now pending, you will do impartial justice according to the Constitution and the laws, so help you God?
I do.
Roberts then swore in the senators as jurors for the trial, and each senator then signed a book asserting their commitment to be impartial jurors in the trial of President Trump. Earlier, the lead House trial manager, Adam Schiff, read the articles to the Senate accusing Trump of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner and Rowe Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. In the Southern Valley, a rollover accident is reported on I-11 northbound at the 95 of the on-ramp at Boulder City. Watch for slowing in the area. Emergency crews on scene. Also a crash on the Western Beltway northbound north of Cheyenne. Still a factor. And on the surface streets, a hit-and-run accident investigation underway at Pecos at Charleston. Hurt in an accident, you deserve full compensation. And most importantly, you deserve what's right. You need Sam and Ash. Visit them now. SamandAsh.com. That's SamandAsh.com. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Have you been lied to by Washington politicians and the Wall Street propaganda machine? Hi, I'm Inc. Magazine bestselling author Brett Kitchen. And if you're over 55 with an IRA or 401k, I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Wealth Beyond Wall Street, because according to Time Magazine, Wall Street's 401ks have failed millions of Americans. After losing 35% in my IRA in the crash years ago, I said enough. And since then, I discovered a way to grow money potential double digits, reduce taxes dramatically, and also have my money protected when the next stock market crash hits. When the next market crash hits, you lose nothing. Call Wealth Beyond Wall Street now to get your free book and talk to a specialist to discover this little-known strategy to get potential double-digit growth during good years and never lose in the next market crash.
Call 800-436-8181 to discover this asset that people like Walt Disney and JCPenney use to grow wealthy. Plus, get one of just 97 free books left. We even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. Call 800-436-8181. 1-800-436-8181. That's 1-800-436-8181.
Hey, sweetie, what's going on?
Well, honey, I have some news.
Okay, what?
All that training paid off. I got the job.
Oh, I knew you would get it. So when do you start?
When you donate stuff to Goodwill, you help provide job training for people right here in your community. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
Jesus, what is wrong with you?
Chris,
Take care of yourself.
What is going on, man?
Yes. Actually, let me call you guys back. I gotta get rid of this little thing I got with that curl here. I'll call you back. I'll call you guys back.
Welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. I've been doing radio for 20 years. I don't think I can recall ever having a guest on our show that literally had a coughing attack that had to hang up the phone. But anyway, Chris is okay. He'll be just fine. He said post-nasal drip is the reason. Anyway, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, it sounded more like a pneumatic episode to me.
Welcome back to the program. It is Sharp and Shapiro. A lot to get to, a lot to go over in the sports world, and we have some breaking news. So what better person to talk about it than my guy, Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports, who joins us every Thursday. Mike, how's it going, my man?
What's up, Mikey?
What's up, guys? How are you? Crazy day, huh?
Oh, God. There's a lot of crazy stuff going. It's been a crazy couple of days. You know, our Vegas Golden Knights fire their head coach. That was a shock. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, not just the sports world. But let's start with the breaking news, Mike, that you guys are covering. That is Odell Beckham. He's accused of battery, and now a warrant has been issued over a locker room butt-slapping incident. Can you tell me exactly what took place here?
Yeah. Monday night after LSU won the championship, Odell Beckham was in the locker room celebrating with the LSU players, and there were some LSU players who were smoking cigars in the locker room, and state law, you can't smoke indoors. So there was a Mercedes-Benz security guard who was in the locker room, and we can argue if he was kind of, being, a little too strict here. These guys are trying to have fun, but nonetheless, the security guard was checking out one of the offensive linemen in the area around him, looking for the cigars. And as this guy was kind of conducting the investigation, Odell Beckham, on video, walked up behind this guy and slaps him on his butt relatively hard. The security guard turns around. They kind of have a little standoff. The security guard didn't appear to be pleased by what had taken place, and Odell kind of just stood there, looked at him, danced a little bit, and then backed away. But nothing more came of it that day. Now we learned that the security guard now, was not happy that this happened. Actually went to the New Orleans Police Department, and now there was a warrant out for simple battery for Odell Beckham's arrest.
Oh boy, this is not positive news for Odell Beckham. That is for sure.
This really sounds like, and Mike, I want to know if you agree with me or not. This sounds like a pretty big overreaction by the security guard to me. I mean, it's pretty commonplace to slap someone's butt in the sports world. I realized it was security guard, and he was like, "Hey, good job. Congrats on doing your job as far as trying to stop Joe Burrow and the LSU players that were celebrating winning a national championship." With cigars. I think he was mocking him a little bit, but this simple battery thing seems like a pretty big overreaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is this is something that you can go to jail for. You can go to jail for 6 months, and I don't think anyone thinks that's ultimately what's going to happen to Odell here, but it could happen. I mean, he is facing jail time here. I think the biggest mistake here from Odell's standpoint was just reading the room wrong. Everybody else was having a good time, but the security guard wasn't partaking in that.
But this isn't it.
He was really there to do his job, and like again, I was saying, I personally think that he was probably being too hard, looking for the cigars, just let the guys have fun. But he wasn't participating. Odell touched him, and I guess by the letter of the law, he did something wrong. Now, what's interesting is, originally they tried to get like a sexual battery or a sexual assault here because where he touched him on the butt.
Right.
That was rejected by a judge, and I think rightly so.
I agree.
And then the New Orleans police went back and they kind of redrafted this and asked for the simple battery, which they got. But,
so what about this? What about this though, Mike? I mean, also there's word that he was OBJ was giving cash to Joe Burrow and other athletes. LSU just responded. Said they're aware of the incident. What can you tell us about this?
Right. So on the field, there a bunch of cameras all around, and Odell Beckham gave at least 2 LSU players. He pulled the money out of his pocket, put it in his hand, like gave them a handshake, and then sent the money. Now, we're clearly not something that can be done. You can't pay student athletes. Originally, LSU comes out and says that it was fake money. This thing's on camera. You can zoom in. Cameras are high quality these days. You look at the bills; they look very real. Why would Odell Beckham have fake money? That didn't make any sense. So now LSU has kind of reversed course, and they've said that it was real money, and that they have self-reported to the NCAA and kind of explained what happened. But my issue with Odell is that Odell Beckham not on the LSU team. This is one of the greatest moments in the history of the school, maybe the greatest moment in these kids' lives, and it seemed that he was making it about him. He's on the field giving the money. He's going into the band trying to get them to play Next, which is a song they're not allowed to play because it has some bad language. He was interrupting Coach Orgeron during his speech. There was a lot of Odell Beckham. In my opinion, get on the side, Odell. Watch the game, be excited for your alma mater, but you don't need to inject yourself into every single thing that's happening that day.
I tend to agree.
Trying to steal the spotlight, all Odell, all the time.
So speaking of all the time, Antonio Brown. There's another character and former NFL player who's been in a lot of trouble recently. Tell me a little bit about this story. Apparently, he threw a bag of penises at his baby mama in a police showdown. What is this? What is going on here?
It's craziness. So him and his baby mama, they have a couple kids together. They have been going back and forth for a while now. It always kind of unfolds publicly, either on Twitter. With the case here, he actually started like an Instagram live session, and thousands and thousands of people are watching this thing, and he is just berating a police officer, berating the mother of his kids while the kids are standing next to the mother. So in plain sight, the kids kind of hear and see everything that's going on. But like you said, at one point he had a bag of like gummy penises. Don't know where you get those, but Antonio found them and he threw them at her.
So Mike, more Antonio Brown. Apparently he is training with an Olympic boxer in preparation for a boxing match with one of the most popular YouTubers of all time, Logan Paul. Is this going to happen, Mike?
It looks like it is. The Zone is, the Zone obviously puts on a whole bunch of fights. They just put on Logan Paul's last fight when he fought KSI, the other YouTuber. But this is serious. I know people at the Zone. They have They are in negotiations with both guys right now, and they have made a deal. So that's how serious it is, that they have actually put a monetary figure out there, and this is probably going to happen. The date that I'm told that they're looking at right now, sometime in April. And like you said, Antonio, he's training with a guy who fought in the Olympics, who was a pretty good fighter himself professionally. And it looks like this thing is going to happen. I'd actually be surprised at this point if it didn't happen. And, you know, obviously I understand that with Antonio, he's very unpredictable. So who knows what's going to happen.
That's an understatement.
If you ask me right now, I would say that this thing is going to happen.
So it's
and
much.
By the way, Drew Rosenhaus has fired Antonio Brown also, so that's going on too.
Oh
so
wow!
Just another day in Antonio Brown.
So it's further along than Tom Cruise and Justin Bieber. Where's that one at now?
Much further. I think that one there was some talk, and I think people were having some fun. And I think Dana White wants it to happen because obviously that'd be a big money fight for him.
Yes.
But I don't think that one didn't actually get off the ground. But this has gotten off the ground, and we're talking money and dates.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. I'd be remiss not to bring up O.J. Simpson, who presides in Las Vegas. He lives here. And apparently there is a local casino in Las Vegas that O.J. sued. And now the casino is saying basically that he is a defamation-proof criminal scumbag. You guys are covering this on TMZ. Tell me a little bit about the story in the background.
I've never heard of this before. So you remember it was in November 2017, and there were all these stories that OJ had gotten kicked out of the Cosmo because he was kind of acting like a drunken fool at one of their bars.
Yep.
OJ said that wasn't true. So OJ is suing the Cosmopolitan for defamation, and the Cosmo's kind of their answer to all this is OJ's reputation is so bad that he can't be defamed because his reputation is just so horrible that it's impossible to actually defame this guy. So that is what their argument is. I've never heard anything like it before in all the cases that we've covered. We've covered a lot. Things similar to this. I've never heard an argument, made like this. But this is what the Cosmopolitan Hotel is going with. That OJ is such a bad dude, such a bad reputation that he can't be defamed.
You know what? That is an interesting argument. I don't know if, in the words of the general public and their opinions, I kind of agree with them. I don't think. I mean, OJ. Most people think OJ, and rightfully so, is a double murderer. I don't think it gets much worse than that. But yeah, I kind of think they're onto something. Okay, so last question for you, and then we got to let you go and let you get back to the good work you're doing over there at TMZ. This is weird. So explain to me how a guy who was in the G League a few years ago, who's averaging 5.7 points a game for the LA Lakers, 1 rebound and an assist, is getting, his name is Alex Caruso, is getting more votes for All-Star voting than guys like Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. You're in LA. Explain to me how the hell this happens.
It's absolutely insane. The names on that list of the guys who are behind Alex Caruso, it's crazy. I think what happened was that there was like a group of people who thought it'd be funny to vote for Alex Caruso, and then when the NBA periodically sends the vote tallies out, and I think when Alex was on that list of guys who had gotten some votes, then there was like a groundswell of support for from people who thought it would be funny if this guy made the All-Star game. So now we have Alex Caruso, who is right there, possibly to make the team. Also have Taco Fall in Boston, who is another guy who seems like a really sweet guy, should not be playing on the All-Star game. Him too, crazy amount of votes. So you have these two guys who do not deserve, kind of from their play on the court to be part of the All-Star game. But both are getting a lot of votes. It's pretty crazy.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, don't get me wrong. I watched Caruso in the summer league here. He obviously has worked hard on his game. He is a really good athlete, and I do believe he's an NBA player. Make no mistake. I don't think he's a starter, but I certainly think he's a guy that deserves to be on an NBA roster. But an NBA All-Star, I mean, are fans that stupid? I just don't understand.
Right. Yeah, I don't think anyone actually believes he should be an All-Star. It makes a mockery of the game, but, this is the internet. People think it's funny. Let's vote him into the All-Star game.
It definitely turns into a popularity contest.
If I was him, I would go. Let somebody who deserves it go.
It definitely turns into a popularity contest over merit. Let's talk really, really quick about baseball. So Beltran, Hinch, Alex Cora, they're all gone from this scandal. Are any other current managers at risk, you think, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't even think the Mets should have fired Beltran.
I agree.
With you. I think at the end of the day, if players find it seems like they all use it. Baseball said 23 players did. That's essentially the whole team. Players were not in any position of power. The manager, the general manager, all they had to do, all they had to say was stop, and it would have stopped. So I don't blame the players. I don't think the players should be disciplined. And I think the Mets folded. There was a lot of pressure, especially in New York, once this came out, because a lot of these, baseball guys can be a little bit holier than thou, and they really cherish the game. And I think it was an affront to those people, and then those people put a lot of pressure on the Mets, and I think the Mets caved into the pressure here. But I don't think the Mets had to fire Beltran. I think that he would have been able to stay on as manager. I think this ultimately would have gone away by spring training. Cora and the two managers, different story with Hinch and Cora, but I don't think Beltran had to be fired. But,
I'm on your side. Yep. I'm on your side. I completely agree with you there. Mike, always a great job. Always appreciate it when you come on. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend, my friend, and we will catch up with you next week.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
there you
thanks
go.
a lot, Mikey.
Mike Babcock, very own TMZ Sports. He's turning into a superstar, by the way. He's on TV like left and right everywhere. So we always appreciate it. Mike Babcock, great friend of the show. Does a great job.
What? He looks the part. So I'm glad that he's doing that.
He does look like a movie star.
He does, absolutely.
He does has the lavish looks.
Striking good looks.
The lavish looks that my parents did not give me, unfortunately. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, alleged Vegas pro sports gambler that I actually used to have a relationship with, his name is Vegas Dave. I will give the story of
what kind of relationship.
I will give the story of that, and why a local law firm could be filing a large class action lawsuit against him for his sports handicapping practices. We'll explain that coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
There's an app to save on flights, an app to rent a bike, and an app to help you save for driving safely. The Allstate app gives you real-time driving feedback with DriveWise, giving you the power to lower your insurance cost. In fact, safe drivers can save 40% or more. Connect and save with DriveWise. You're in good hands.
Download the Allstate app today. Savings may vary by state and driving behaviors. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Use of Allstate Mobile with activation of DriveWise required. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I'm Ben Utek. I played high school, college, and pro football, helping my team win the 2006 championship. It was an amazing day, but it can't compare to the joy I feel every day with my loving wife and 3 beautiful daughters. My football career ended after I suffered my 5th concussion. Did you know that over 1 million athletes suffer a concussion each year? That includes boys and girls, every age, every type and level of sport. It isn't always clear that a player has had a concussion, so parents, athletes, and coaches need to learn about concussion signs and symptoms. The American Academy of Neurology recommends athletes thought to have a concussion be immediately removed from play and not returned until assessed by a healthcare professional trained in concussion. This isn't just about sports. It's about your brain. When in doubt, sit it out. Learn more at aan.com/concussion. That's aan.com/concussion. A message from the American Academy of Neurology.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad that you could join us. And I want to give a quick preview of the show tomorrow because we got great guests coming up tomorrow. Democratic presidential candidate Deval Patrick will be joining us live on the program. Of course, plenty to get to with him. The breaking news, of course, we'll be talking with him about this tomorrow. Senators have now been sworn in for the Trump impeachment hearing. So we'll be talking to him about that and, of course, how his campaign is going. Also, big UFC fight over the weekend in Vegas on Saturday at T-Mobile Arena. Conor McGregor is back in the ring. This is one of the most anticipated fights that the UFC has had in quite some time. So we're going to be joined by Mark Ratner, who is the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs for the UFC. He'll be joining us to talk a little bit about this fight. Also, the former boxing commissioner here in Las Vegas. In fact, not a lot of people don't, especially people that are new to Las Vegas. This guy, Mark Ratner, was the guy that put down the hammer on Mike Tyson when he bit Evander's ear. Do you remember that, JD, when he bit Mike Tyson's ear off, or Mike Tyson bit Evander's ear?
Oh, yeah, Brian.
What the big deal? I only bit the curly pot. I'm sorry. That was my horrible Mike Tyson.
Oh, that was really good.
What the big
I
deal?
want more.
I
want more Brian Tyson.
Give it to me. I
want more Mike Shapiro.
I only bit the curly pot of the ear. Okay, I'm sorry.
Here's a question. Where are the sombrero-wearing pigeons?
Coming up next on the show, we've got Mark Ratner from the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs. Mark is the guy that suspended me when I bit Evander's ear off. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop that now. Anyway, Mark Ratner will be joining us tomorrow on the show, as well as these guys that we're going to be talking about right now. There is a local law firm in Las Vegas. They're called the 702 firm, and Jeff Temple from this firm is going to be joining us in studio tomorrow. The reason why, they are looking into following a class action lawsuit against a known scam artist and horrible sports handicapper in Vegas, Dave. The reason why is some of his clients are claiming, and I believe them, that not only does he split up his picks 50-50, he'll go one side with some clients and some side with other clients, but he also falsifies his winning. Like he'll go on social media and say he went 10-0 today when he went 2-8. And he changes his picks. It's clear we have evidence of this because there are some of his, by the way, how dumb do you have to be giving this guy money? I'm going to say that. For you idiots out there that are paying this guy for picks, you deserve it. I'm clearly, you deserve it, okay? But with that being said, I hope they go after this guy, Vegas Dave, because he falsifies his bets. He falsifies his record, and he's a liar. He's a scam artist.
Not only him, I hope they go after a lot of handicappers on Twitter who are doing this. There's a lot of handicappers.
But he's the worst because he's the most well-known of them all.
He is the most well-known, but there are a lot of people right now that are making money off of people who want to get involved in sports betting, don't have the experience doing it, but understand there are returns. And if you're good at sports betting, you can make a lot of money. And they're misrepresenting their success, and they're misrepresenting how much money they can make for their clients. And it's taboo, and it's very, very bad for the sports betting world. And now you've got 19 states with legalized sports betting. You've got almost probably $6 or $7 billion a month being wagered across the United States. I mean, sports betting is exploding. Outside of maybe hemp and CBD and marijuana, it's probably the fastest growing market right now in the United States.
And by the way, there are some high-profile people making fun of Vegas, Dave, including Scott Van Pelt over at ESPN, who does his Bad Beats segment, which I think is hilarious. And so what Vegas Dave does...
Unless you're on the other end of it.
What Vegas Dave does is he puts up these videos on a daily basis. How the F do I do it? We did it again. We went 10-0. My lock whale play of it. So
how do I do it? How do I do it?
So basically, he puts up these videos every day, and he has a losing record almost on a daily basis. He bankrupts his clients, and he falsifies bets and that sort of stuff. So Scott Van Pelt goes on Twitter, and he goes, how does he do it? How the F does he do it? You know, so he's getting publicity from people knowing, everybody knows that everyone's clowning this guy. And by the way, 5 Dimes, which is a pretty reputable place that can verify, sports handicappers.
The wagers, yeah.
Yeah. So he has said that that Vegas Dave falsified a document that says that he won a $123,000 whale parlay, and then 5 Dimes was asked about it, and they said they cannot verify that this guy has had any winning bets for them.
It was during the NFL season. It was last week during the playoffs. I think he had the Titans money line at plus 315, along with Might have been the Chiefs minus 9.5, and he claimed that it was like a $14,000 bet parlayed with a $160,000 return.
Yeah, it's a lie. So
he marketed it as it was actually a bet that he made, and 5 Dimes literally came out and said, "You know what, Dave? We don't have this bet in our system. We can't verify this." And I'm happy they did that.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
They said they're alleging that they have zero evidence to back up the fact that this is a legit bet. And then there are people on social media that are saying, well, this is how Vegas Dave does it. This is how you post a bet and then change it. So the 702 firm put out this statement. This is exactly what they said. And by the way, they're going to be coming in studio tomorrow. Jeff Temple from the 702 firm. They said, quote, "We're in the exploratory stages of possibly pursuing legal action against Dave Owancia, also known as Vegas Dave, for posting potential falsified images with the intent of deceiving potential customers. If you lost money as a result of the actions, please let us know." Let me just give you, and by the way, I hope they go after this guy and I hope they get him. Okay, let me explain to you quickly my relationship to this guy, or the relationship I used to have with him. So news came out that he had this huge bet on the, was it the Royals? And
it was the KC Royals, yeah.
And he won a boatload of money. So I was doing a show at another station. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, we'd love to have you on the show to talk about it. So we had what I thought was a pretty good interview. It was fun. And then he said he wanted to sponsor my show. He said he wanted to make regular appearances. I said, sure, let's do it. I didn't know anything about this guy except for the fact that I took him for his word that he was a professional and he won a lot of money. So he comes in studio and he's paying me a certain amount of money to make these appearances. But I also would have had him on for free, quite frankly, because I thought he was reputable. The first interview I did with this guy, I knew he was a joke. He tells me that he had $5,000 to his name and he bet on black on the roulette table and he doubled it up and that's how he started sports betting. First of all, that is completely a lie. I found out that his parents have boatloads of money and that's where he has gotten his money from. He's not a successful businessman. He's not a successful sports handicapper. He's a liar and he's a scam artist. What he is good at is promoting himself, self-promotion. People actually believe him when he say he's a gambler and he's won all this money. Then I said, what was your record in baseball? He says 78-1. So obviously I know he's absolutely full of crap. It turns out that what he did was he used something called the martingale system, which has been proven to be a losing system in gambling.
Yeah, let me explain to you what exactly that means. So say he gives you a play and that play wins. Well, then you stop for the day, but the next day he gives you a play and that play loses. So he asks you to double down and then that play loses. Then you double down again and that play loses. Then you double down again. And basically he's saying that I have not had a situation, out of 79 times that I've done this, I have not had 4 plays where I've asked my clients to double down, lose in a row at any point.
Right.
That's happened to me one time. The point is that no book would take that type of action. And if it happens once,
not just that.
Your bankroll is gone.
But it's not just that. The martingale system has been proven to be a losing system. To any professional gambler with knowledge would know that. So he claims to use the martingale system. He has bankrupted his clients. He falsifies images. So I knew right away that he was a scam artist. By the way, he owes me $2,000. So I'm thinking of telling this attorney tomorrow. We had a verbal agreement. I'm dumb. I didn't have a written agreement with him, but the guy does owe me $2,000. That is 100%. He owes me money. So maybe I could be a part of this class action lawsuit. I don't know. We know he's a scam artist. So Jeff Temple from the 702 firm, they're trying to put together this class action suit against Vegas, the scammer Dave, who is just a complete moron and a scam artist. Also alleged that he is a drug dealer. And then when he says he can't bet in some of these casinos, it has nothing to do with the fact that he is a winning gambler and has everything to do with the fact of criminal activity, from what I've heard from some very, very good sources. He is horrible for the sports gaming business. And if you are a legit sports gambler or just a sports bettor in general, these are the guys that you want out of this business because they are just bad news. Anyway, quickly, tomorrow on the show, we've got Deval Patrick, Democratic presidential candidate's going to be joining us. As I just mentioned, Jeff Temple from the 702 firm that are going after Vegas Dave. And we also have Mark Ratner to talk about the big MMA fight over the weekend with Conor McGregor. He is the vice president of regulatory affairs for the UFC. It's been a fun show, folks. Please check us out on YouTube and, of course, our SoundCloud page. Sean Hannity coming up next. Have a great afternoon.
The only FM News Talk